This is the recovery room. Full darkness, no water, no electricity. But we have a hero, surgeons in Gaza.
These the words of Dr Adnan al-Bursh, one of the best-known surgeons in Gaza, as he documented the situation at al-Shifa hospital last year. The conditions were deteriorating in the weeks that followed October 7th. So bad, in fact, there was nowhere left to store the bodies. Here, al-Bursh and colleagues dig mass graves in the hospital compound. The Israelis said al-Shifa was used as a command and control center by Hamas, and they placed it under siege. Patients, staff and displaced residents were forced to evacuate. But al-Bursh took a different path. The beginning of his story in Israeli detention. He worked at several hospitals nearby, these pictures taken at Al-Alda Hospital, the last images we have of Dr al-Bursh. He was detained several days later after the hospital director said the men had to leave. His colleague, Dr Mohammed Obaid, was with him at the time.
فقال لنا أن قوات الاحتلال لديها كشف كامل بجميع أسماء الذكور ما بين 14 سنة و 65 سنة في مستشفى العودة، ولقد قالوا له حرفيا إذا لم يأتي جميع الرجال الموجودين في الداخل فسيقوموا بتدمير مستشفى العودة وما فيه.
These drone images match his description of events. Obaid says the Israelis took 5 medical workers away, including al-Bursh.
الذي هو إحساس أنه في مأزق شديد وأخذه ضابط الاحتلال وكانت المعاملة خشنة جدا.
Al-Bursh was sent to an Israeli army base called Stade Timan, used for processing detainees from Gaza. On arrival, he spoke to another doctor who'd been imprisoned at the facility.
He was so badly treated, so he was unable even to go to the toilet alone. So I thought he was beaten very badly.
Dr al-Bursh would remain in Israeli custody and was sent the following April to this prison called Ofer. Shortly after his arrival, he died. News of the surgeon's death was announced quietly in May, the Israelis offering no explanation, no cause of death, nor have they returned the body to members of the family. The regime at Ofer is harsh, something the prison service was keen to emphasize when an Israeli television channel was given this tour. And Sky News can reveal new information about al-Bursh's death. A human rights lawyer has obtained a deposition from a prisoner at Ofer who said he witnessed the moments leading up to the doctor's death.
He had clearly been assaulted with injuries around his body. He was naked in the lower part of his body. The prison guard threw him in the middle of the yard and left him there.
The deposition says al-Bursh was taken by an inmate to one of the cells.
A few minutes later, prisoners were heard screaming from the room they went into, declaring Dr Adnan al-Bursh have been martyred. Adnan al-Bursh was not the first case of a person who was beaten and died in the prisons since this war. Before him were many and many cases.
Some people might say, some people will say, that Dr Adnan al-Bursh was a terrorist.
Like, if I want to answer formally to this question, he was not charged till now, and many of these detainees are not charged from Gaza.
The Israel Defense Forces told Sky News the death of Dr al-Bursh was not their responsibility. In a statement, the Israel Prison Service also denied responsibility for the death of the doctor. All basic rights required are fully applied by professionally trained prison guards. We are not aware of the claims you described, and as far as we know, no such events have occurred under IPS responsibility. This story is one of a countless number left buried under the weight of Gaza's recent past. Yet al-Bursh was a much-loved figure in the territory. His death and the manner in which he died are deemed by many as unforgivable.